What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Smackdown, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including the real reason why an ex-WWE executive quit, is AEW in trouble after this injury, Matt Hardy's wife's troubling TikTok video, why is the WWE keeping The Rock's appearances as a prize, is this a sign that WWE has changed its blood policy, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new website, Wrestlelamia.com. As always, we won't recap the show, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good, as number 1, Nick Aldis, SmackDown's action man. And Nick Aldis is no pencil pusher collecting a paycheck while the inmates run the asylum. He's quickly established himself as someone who puts the authority in authority figure. He rained on Roman's parade after the Bloodline laid out all three would-be contenders for the Undisputed Championship by making Roman's Rumble title defense a fatal four-way. Earlier he talked how hit Rose Ashante, who wanted to do something to get back on track, a segment that provided a storyline for Ashante re-entering the ever-crowded SmackDown picture. Number 2, the return of AOP. Akam and Razor made a huge statement last night with their riotous return, taking out Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, which was no easy feat. AOP fans should be eager to see what's next for the powerhouse team, especially since their NXT manager Paul Ellering is at their side and they've apparently joined forces with Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Number 3, Io Sky fighting champion. Io Sky has become SmackDown's version of Seth Rollins. No, not someone with a questionable fashion sense, but a fighting champion who's ready to take on any and all opponents. A willingness to put the title on the line is refreshing, especially as heels often duck and dodge opponents. Sky is a tremendous talent who will hopefully get a lengthy title reign as she's dynamite in the ring and she's providing a fresh face on the title scene. Number 4, is there any hope for Butch? Is there actually hope for Butch? Well, despite his so far useless gimmick of being a master of joint manipulation, he's a solid worker who unfortunately had the misfortune of endless jobbing alongside Ridge Holland in the Brawling Brutes. And now that Holland is doing his thing on NXT, teaming Butch with Tyler Bate could give him the reboot he needs to step back into the limelight. And speaking of Tyler Bate, he's now been officially transferred over to SmackDown. Number 5, Wild Triple Threat. Last night's Triple Threat match was a premium live event quality match in terms of star power, although it didn't get enough time. While the bout's real purpose was to set up the Royal Rumble's fatal four-way, it was still excited to see Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles throw down in the ring. And Logan Paul delivers. US champ Logan Paul showed why the WWE loves to utilize him. Paul may not show up on TV, but when he does, he makes the most of every moment, enraging fans with his arrogant attitude and setting himself up for just enough comeuppance for fans to want to see him get more punishment in the ring. Last night was no exception as he mocked new number 1 contender Kevin Owens and got floored for running his mouth. But that was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1, Santos Escobar's losses. Is Santos Escobar's push over now that he's lost the US title tournament? Well, probably not, but he still lost some of his momentum by losing to Kevin Owens. Escobar's feud with Rey Mysterio should be a hot program, but the WWE should have considered booking him against Logan Paul because it could have made for an engaging heel versus heel program. Instead, Paul will wrestle Owens and will walk away with the title after Grayson Waller and Austin Theory helped the Maverick. And number 2, the US title has become a prop. As good as Logan Paul is in WWE, having the US Championship around his waist is a constant reminder that the belt has become a prop. Say what you will about Gunther's Intercontinental Championship reign being stale, but at least the ring general defends it regularly. Not so with Paul, who promised to be a more active competitor, but who appears even less than Roman Reigns, the WWE's previous poster child for absentee landlords. That was nothing downright ugly, as last night's New Year's Revolution felt like an extra special edition of the Blue brand and provided plenty of build for the Rumble. I mean, not bad on SmackDown's end. We got a huge fatal four-way for the WWE Undisputed Championship and Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul. Not to mention the Rumbles itself. What did you guys think of the Blue brand last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first reason looks at the real reason why a top executive quit WWE. At top of today's news, more details are emerging on Kevin Dunn's departure from the WWE, including a rumor that things got ugly during his last days in WWE. As reported last week, Kevin Dunn left the WWE after decades of working there. He held considerable power and is often labeled as Vince McMahon's right-hand man. Dunn's official title was WWE Executive Producer and Chief of Global Television Distribution. Meltzer went into detail saying it was Dunn's decision to leave, which one source said dated back to about 2 months when Endeavor started wanting to make budget cuts to improve profitability in the department and started making decisions on the production side without relying on his opinions. Dunn had been basically autonomous in his position for decades, only having to answer to Vince McMahon. There was considerable chatter about Kevin Dunn's future in WWE after Vince McMahon's abrupt retirement in the summer of 2022. Some fans and industry analysts felt like Dunn's days were numbered as changes were being made in the WWE hierarchy. According to Meltzer, the WWE didn't want that to happen. At the time, we were told that with McMahon and John Laurinaitis leaving the way they did, they didn't want any other major changes as far as top executives, with the idea it would hurt the stock price, at least at that time. Still, Dunn is believed to be worth somewhere between $40 million and $60 million. Not bad, eh? As for the circumstances surrounding Kevin Dunn's departure, PW Insider's Mike Johnson is reporting, while everyone is playing up positives publicly, we are told that the relationship between the two sides has gotten more and more frayed in recent weeks, with one source describing it as getting uglier even after Dunn put his notice in Christmas week. It seems that whilst Dunn had quit the WWE, he's still not retiring for good, but he's not expected to work in wrestling. Next up, good news for Liv Morgan. There's good news regarding Liv Morgan's criminal court case in Florida, as Morgan was arrested last December and faced 2 drug possession charges, one of them a felony. A new report states that Morgan has hired one of Florida's top attorneys and the hire may be already paying dividends. Mike Johnson is reporting that one of the charges has already been dropped. On one half, the more serious charge against Morgan, possession of drugs, possibly synthetic cannabinoids, was dropped from the criminal case against her. In addition, Meltzer is reporting the belief at this point is more likely to be a misdemeanor charge, and most first-time offenders with marijuana in Florida pay a fee of $100 and they'll drop the charges without anything appearing on a record. While Morgan will still have to go through some legal proceedings, it appears the worst part of the case has already been resolved. It's been reported that the criminal case will not impact Morgan's push. She's currently sidelined with an injury she suffered last summer. Next up, AEW In Trouble? There's potentially devastating news as AEW could lose MJF for nearly a year. Maxwell Jacob Friedman has been working through 2 notable injuries but may be at the point where he can no longer work through them. Also recently discussed the injuries the former AEW World Champion had to wrestle through during his title defense at World's End pay-per-view. MJF worked the match in great pain with his torn labrum, as well as a hip injury from the crazy elbow drop off the top rope to the floor in Jay White match at Full Gear. The shoulder injury is the most serious. He's having to have it healed through rehab then surgery, because surgery would put him out for months and he was told perhaps close to a year, which he wants to avoid. While MJF may not want to miss that much time off, Meltzer suggested surgery could be the best move in the long run. But long term, he's young, and getting this as fixed long term could be a lot better than it consistently being a problem for the rest of his career. As of now, he and doctors will determine what direction he tries. Next up, Matt Hardy's wife troubling TikTok video. Are there marital problems between Rebby and Matt Hardy? Well, some fans are asking this after Rebby posted a troubling TikTok video. Rebby Hardy has used social media to express her opinions before, sometimes in a harsh manner. It's unknown exactly what this means, but it's understandable why some fans are very concerned. Next up, why is the WWE keeping The Rock's appearances a surprise? If you wonder why the WWE doesn't announce The Rock's surprises to capitalize on them in the ratings, well, the People's Champion's appearance always pop an audience, and fans and pundits alike have questioned the wisdom of keeping every appearance a secret. But now it looks like why it has nothing to do with the WWE, but with The Rock. Meltzer reported, The Rock is doing this for fun because he doesn't have to do it, and he's doing it for excitement, that type of thing. That's why he came back on Monday. It wasn't announced at the time like if they had announced that ahead of time. I mean, the rating would have been much higher than it was. He was doing it because in that case, he wanted that pop because of the people in the building not knowing he was going to be there, and he's there. This policy could change if The Rock works a program with Roman Reigns, but for now The Rock seems to be enjoying surprising the fans. And finally, LA Knight busted open on Smackdown. Another sign the WWE is bringing back blood to its matches is LA Knight was busted open during SmackDown's Triple Threat match. This follows the Nia Jax vs Becky Lynch match where Lynch suffered a bloody lip and the WWE's announced team mentioned it and the cameras didn't turn away, as was usually the case. But there you have it folks, our look at SmackDown as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.